What's up, guys? Welcome back to the stream. Here with us, we have Bill Rosemann. We're going to be talking about some Marvel games.
Hey, true believers. This is Bill Rosemann, creative director at Marvel Games.
No.
What?
Executive
creative director.
Nice.
I know, but I just, people are like, what's that mean, executive?
What do any of our titles
but
mean?
Thank you,
Means
good
you
sir.
execute things.
My wife and my mother were very impressed with the promotion, so
nice.
Thank you for a chance to brag out there to the true believers.
And and because I didn't say yet, I'm Jess Brohart, host of Marvel Gaming.
I'm Ryan Panagos, aka Marvel's Agent Dan.
And yeah, like I said, we're going to be talking about some Marvel games. So first, let's start off with Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite.
Yeah, I mean, actually, to take a step back, this whole show has been awesome for Marvel Games, and I want to thank you and the entire Marvel staff. You have been behind the Marvel Games, giving it all the support and your energy, and I know that it is that you mean it and it's authentic. So I thank you for all that, for helping us get the word out, because we're so proud and happy with what the entire games team and all of our partners have put together.
I can tell, and I constantly say, everybody that I've spoken to about Marvel Games, you can really feel the passion, and that's so inspiring to see how how amazing you guys are, basically, at what you do and how passionate you are.
Well, thank you. It's all about growing up, loving these characters, loving games. Now we're lucky enough to get to work on both, and we're just trying to, make the best games for everyone, and they're made by fans for the fans.
And that clearly comes across Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite.
Yes.
You guys have listened to the fans, and you had so many new character announcements, some new character gameplay that happened. I know, Spiderman, everyone was so excited when Spiderman was added to the game, along with Frank West, Hagar, and Nemesis. And
We're packing it with characters.
Yes, and then of course how Gamora, we finally saw some gameplay from her, and this is the first time Gamora has been in a Marvel vs. Capcom title.
Yes, and she has her God Killer sword and her twin blasters. She's really fun. She's, she's so athletic and acrobatic.
She's so fast.
And and there's no wasted movement when it comes to her.
For sure.
We really treat her as like, Elektra in space. Like everything she does is precision. And she's just so cool, and I love that we did the white suit. People really like that white suit. It only appeared in comics briefly for a few issues, but everyone loves it so much, and it pops so well on the game screen. So that's what we like. Let's go with that. You're right. We introduced a bunch of characters.
And the new Mind Stone, of course.
And
the new
Mind
Infinity Stone, the Mind Stone.
And there's still more to come. There's going to be a full roster. Characters that people are hoping for, characters that people may not expect. And what I loved about our panel that we did the other day is we were really able to go through the entire story.
Yes.
And we had our writer Paul Gardner there on the panel because we wanted to say, like, hey, we know and we love that the game is bonkers. It's over the top, crazy. But at the same time, doesn't mean there can't be a story. Because Marvel, above all,
is story-driven.
Storytelling.
Yes,
everything we do is story.
Besides the passion that I see from you guys, that is the other point that I keep seeing over and over and over again, is that Marvel games are story-driven. And we could go on and on about Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite. And I would love to, but we do have to get moving on because we have so many other games to talk about. Let's move on.
It's a good problem to have.
I know, it's the best problem to have. Let's talk Lego Marvel Superheroes 2.
Yeah, I mean, that panel was awesome as well. Again, we got to make a bunch of character reveals and really talk about Chronopolis. From the characters, we wanted to show that, we're bringing the heavy hitters like Dr. Octopus and Vulture, inspired by Spider-Man Homecoming. But also, we could go deep into the bench and have Throg, which is the frog version of Thor, which is a real thing. It appeared in some issues of Thor by Walt Simonson. We had all the way back from the 60s, we have Irving Forbish, who began just getting mentioned in letters pages by Stan, and then they created him, and he wears a pot on his head, and he ties his cape around his neck because he thinks he's a hero.
I love all these crossovers, and then of course, Howard the Duck / Iron Duck.
Howard the Duck, Iron Duck. Also
voiced by Greg Miller.
Voiced by Greg Miller from Kind of Funny. We love you, Greg. And Iron Duck is also from an actual issue of Howard the Duck back in the 70s. We always want to be authentic and draw from the established Marvel lore.
Yep.
As far as back characters from the 60s, 70s, and today we also revealed Gwenpool. Gwenpool makes her Lego debut. And then we also showed some of the storytelling that's going to be in the game. She's going to send you on missions. And it was great to debut in the game. There was the ChronoCon at Comic-Con. And at the ChronoCon, they revealed some rather handsome individuals, I must say.
I feel like that is the highlight of Comic-Con 2017, just overall, is seeing the ChronoCon in LEGO Marvel Superheroes 2, and a really like good-looking, mustachioed panel host with a great tattoo on his left arm.
That
and then
sounds
someone who's
familiar.
really excited
Familiar.
on the panel. Seems really familiar, talking about Marvel games and is, you know.
And these are very humble people
Yeah.
as
Yes.
well.
Oh.
I got to
the
say, I think it was my biggest cool dad moment when I got to show my son a all-new drawing of a Lego minifigure that kind of looked like his papa. So
There we go.
That's kind
you
of
win
a
the Cool Dad of the Year award.
So as big Lego fan and big Marvel fan, to see that happen, it's like, okay, didn't even know that was a thing that I would have in a bucket list, but it's in there now. So
and that's great because, you know, I always hear like actors in like interviews and stuff always talking about their kids and how their kids don't care that they're famous. So it's great that your kids actually appreciate, you know,
he just
things
loves
like that.
all the cool stuff that I'm allowed to show him when it is the appropriate time.
He needs to sign an NDA for everything
Yes,
else.
everything else I'm like, I can't show you, and then finally like, look at this, and he thinks it's cool.
And then of course
Hi,
touching on
Petey. Shout out to my boy Petey.
Is he watching?
I hope so.
Hopefully. And then of
It's on
course
YouTube, so he's
Carnum.
watching.
Oh, yeah, it's on
there
YouTube.
we
Of course
go.
he's watching.
And then of course, real quick before I move on, Carnum,
Yeah, Carnum,
which is
the
Carnum
fusion
or Carnage and Venom
together.
So
this shows that not only can we go deep in the vault, we can create new characters
yes.
together. And that's
So
what
'cause
all Lego is about, is
Carnum
creating
was
new.
not from the comics.
Well, I mean, of course, Venom and Carnage have been in the comics,
course.
and they've interacted in different ways, but they have not combined in this format before, in this specific form with that name. So, you know, Lego is all about inventing things, and we love to give our partners room to put their own stamp on the Marvel universe and get creative as possible, and just bring new things to the players in every game we do.
Definitely.
So that's an example of that.
Definitely. Moving on along, I know once again we could go on forever about this game. Let's talk about Marvel Powers United VR. For me, this was, I think, the standout of Comic-Con. What do you think?
Oh my gosh, I've said it before, I'll say it again, this is maybe my favorite just pure new experience with video games and with our characters.
Yeah.
And I didn't think it was going to be as amazing, and because I just had no conception.
Yeah,
of how
you're right. It is
cool
an experience, and before you do it,
you
don't unless you do VR, you don't get it. It's hard to describe it or even show it.
And even I have played VR games before, but they were nothing like Marvel Powers United, just because it's a completely different experience. And of course, we announced Deadpool at the show, but he's just one of 4 characters that are in the game right now.
You can experience what it's like to be huge like Hulk.
Yes.
Small like Rocket.
You can fly like Rocket and Captain
Marvel. Be a leader like Captain Marvel. Absorb energy, blast it back, and then Deadpool with his shuriken, his Deadpool branded shurikens.
Oh, nice! Yeah.
Swords.
He's
his
got
guns.
katanas, the hand cannon.
And when you look down, you see your entire body. If you're Rocket, you see your arms and so.
And it's so trippy because especially when you're walking along and you look down and you see Deadpool's legs just moving on along.
And what's fun is every time you play a different character, and I watch people do it, they start acting like the character. Because you feel like them. If I'm Hulk, I'm going to act like Hulk.
Yeah,
if I'm Captain Marvel, So it's amazing. We can't wait for more and more people to play it. There will be more characters added. We're looking at about a dozen.
About a dozen, okay.
Heroes, there'll be villains and their soldiers and locations, and it's like you said, it's an experience. You can become a Marvel character. You can play with all your friends. As the name says, it's all about the ultimate experience of the powers and United playing together, because that's a really fun Marvel thing to do.
Yeah, that's the other. The name is really descriptive of what the game is about, because you know you have the different powers for the different characters, and then you unite with 4 players. You really have to work together as a team, and you can do those fun combo attacks. Like my favorite is when the Hulk can grab an enemy, and then any of the other heroes can come along.
Shoot the enemy.
Yes, shoot, or like Deadpool can come along, just slice them up with his katanas. It's fantastic.
And then you work as a unit, but at the end there's a little scorecard of who did the best, who was most accurate.
And I'm always so bad because I have such terrible aim.
Still fun though.
Yeah, it's still fun.
And then at the end, there you can pose with all your friends, do crazy things and pose, and they take a picture, and it becomes like this cover, this Marvel's United comic book cover.
Yeah,
so we're
and
really,
it makes you feel like you're, again, it's part of the experience. It makes you feel like you're really in the game.
In
So again, moving right along, again, we could talk forever about each of these games, but we have limited time, unfortunately. Let's talk about Marvel's Spider-Man coming out exclusively for the PS4.
Yeah, we had our friends from Insomniac here. So Brian Intihar, the creative director at Insomniac, was here. We gave out an exclusive print at the panel that showed Mr. Negative fighting Spider-Man in a subway, which is something that happens in the game.
Yes, and that was such a cool tease, but it also was so mean of them because it was just a tease, and it left me wanting so much more after just seeing that depiction of Mr. Negative and Spidey fighting on the subway car. I can't wait to see more.
That's the goal. We don't want to show too much. We don't want to spoil everything. We want to give a hint of what the story is.
We want to give us a little taste, like an appetizer.
An appetizer of the gameplay, of the amount of Easter eggs that are in there, of the storytelling, of how fun it is with web slinging and the fighting.
And speaking of web slinging, I always just have to touch on the fact that, we've said it over and over again, Insomniac is so incredibly receptive to the fans.
Yes.
You were there at the panel as well, right? So you saw how they improved the web slinging, they made it faster in just 1 month, because we saw the first gameplay reveal at E3, that 8.5 minutes of gameplay.
Right.
And apparently, fans were saying that they were a little dissatisfied.
Couldn't it be faster?
Yeah, it wasn't fast enough.
We listened. Me and Brian Intihar and the whole team at Insomniac and Marvel Games, we read every tweet. Brian stays up late. He goes to all the message boards. He goes all over the place. We listen to the fans because we have time to make adjustments.
But that's insane to me, because E3 was less than a month ago, and
they work quick.
Yeah, I know.
They work constantly and they work quick. At Insomniac,
Spider-Man demands perfection.
Well, it does. I mean, it is. This is something I'll say about all the games. I mentioned earlier, we are fans. We grew up with these characters. We grew up playing a ton of video games and playing Marvel games, and somehow we ended up here. And we feel it is our duty to get it right. Like Spider-Man himself, with great power, there must come great responsibility. And we are lucky enough to work on these things, and it is our responsibility to make it awesome, to make the best Marvel games ever, so that many, many years from now we can look back and we can say, remember when we were at Marvel Games, remember all those great partners we worked with, and all those great characters, and we did everything we could. We left it all on the field to make the greatest Marvel games that have ever existed. That is our solemn duty and our life quest for myself and for our entire Marvel Games team and for all of our partners we work with. We're here to do this right.
There's that passion I was talking about.
There should be an American flag that comes behind you.
Eagles,
like music, eagles,
fireworks, lockjaw, teleporting.
Yes.
It's true. We live it. We love it.
And you were talking about the poster that the fans got and the subway scene.
Yeah.
And you guys had mentioned that that's a battle in the game.
Yes.
That stuff
it happens.
Is something that fans will experience. It's not just cool art, which it is cool art.
Yes.
But it is. That is something that fans are going to get involved in and get to experience and get to play around with, which is awesome.
And because when you see that one teaser image that makes you go, oh, that's going to be such a fun, but frustrating scene to battle through.
He has
exactly. Where is Spidey going to go?
Take care of the civilians.
Yeah, he can't swing around on the buildings like he's used to. That's his advantage, and he can't do that. So what's he going to do? He's going to have to rely on his other Spidey powers.
Yeah, but that's great about Spidey. He can get up close and mix it up. He can swing in big open spaces, but even in contained spaces, you really think about his agility and the way he thinks, and how quickly he can move and use humor and use his kind of acrobatics, and he's very improvisational, and all of that comes together in all these different elements. And we want to give everyone the different experiences of what it's like to be Spider-Man in different situations.
Definitely.
And all the art you'll be seeing in the coming weeks, all the art has led to some scene in the game. We let nothing go to waste. And it's beautiful stuff, and I can't wait for everyone to see it.
I can't wait for 2018 when it comes out. Let's move right along to Contest of Champions.
Yes!
So this is a super fun. Now, Ryan, I know you are addicted to this game, and they recently have announced Vulture is going to be joining the cast.
Yeah.
Yes.
Which is awesome. And there's some really cool Spider-Man events happening right now.
Yeah, we're really inspired by Spider-Man Homecoming. What's great, especially in our mobile games, the live op games, we don't try and do big adaptations of films or TV shows. It's really hard to do when they're also making it. What we do is we give all of our partners some behind-the-scenes info and art, so we can say, hey, this movie's coming out in 6 to 7 months. Would you like to have characters in your game inspired by them as far as the costumes or the characters themselves if they're not in the game? So for Contest of Champions, for example, they are introducing Vulture, and he looks just like he does in the movie.
That's so cool, because he was so cool in the movie. And you know, personally, I didn't watch any of the trailers for Spider-Man: Homecoming before I saw the movie because I didn't want to spoil it for myself. Exactly. So when Vulture was revealed, it was a huge surprise, and he's just such a cool character and intimidating as well. So I think he's going to be a great addition to the game.
He's really dangerous and powerful, and we also revealed a shot of him at our panel of Vulture and 5 other villains, Spider-Man villains. One was a tease of Doc Ock coming to the game. The other 4 are in the game, so now there is, if you will, a Sinister 6 in Contest of Champions.
All right, well, moving right along to the next mobile game that we want to talk about, Marvel's Future Fight.
Marvel Future Fight. So we showed Kid Kaiju, who's going to get a specific costume in the game, and that just represents how quickly and closely we work with publishing. They're constantly sending me like black and white sketches and scripts and saying, hey Bill, this character is coming to comics, and they know now we can move very quickly with certain partners, especially Netmarble that does Marvel Future Fight. They work very quickly, and so they're able to get characters in the game sometimes in the same week that the comic comes out.
That's insane.
It's crazy. So I thank all my friends in publishing for doing that, and we did a tease. We want to reward the fans of San Diego, Comic-Con, the fans here at the Comic-Con. So we teased Apocalypse, who is coming to the game. We recently had a big X-Men event, and we had 5 or 6 X-Men, classic X-Men introduced to the games, and everyone loved them because we are all huge X-Men fans at Marvel Games. So we're happy to unleash the X-Men, but what are heroes without great villains? So we have Magneto in the game. Next up, we're teasing Apocalypse himself. So stay tuned for
Can I make one request?
Yes.
When Apocalypse is in the game,
yes.
I want him to have the big A belt buckle.
Of course.
So you know that it's Apocalypse.
Yes, you know who he is.
Yeah.
It's
you
like,
gotta
hey,
have that.
Read the A. A stands for Apocalypse.
Perfect.
All right, moving on. Again, we could talk about these games forever. Let's move on to the final game that we're talking about here, which is Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy, the Telltale series, Episode 3, coming August 22nd.
Yes. What I loved about the trailer that we released is it's showing how each chapter is focusing on an individual Guardian. Even though it is very much an ensemble piece,
of course.
We said, hey, we have 5 chapters, there's 5 core Guardians.
Yeah.
Let's be intelligent and strategic about this and use each one with the amount of time in each chapter, it's almost 1 to 2 hours, and really focus and take you into each character and into their past. Episode 2 had the very sad and romantic moment with Rocket,
Lila the Otter.
And Lila the Otter.
Oh my goodness.
Who
she was
appeared,
my
and she's real, and she was in the first Rocket Raccoon miniseries.
Okay.
And we wanted to bring that back. That was written by Bill Mantlo, drawn by Mike Mignola, and we all loved it and take so much inspiration from our comics. So we want to now bring this into new forms. Here it is like 20, 30 years later, and we're showing people. This chapter is all about Gamora, her relationship to Nebula, their relationship to their father Thanos, with something very crazy happened to Thanos in the first chapter, but we want to show how that sends out ripple effects across the entire game to all the characters. So each chapter gets deeper and deeper into the characters and asking the question, is there anything that can break up the family that is the Guardians? Well, and in playing through the first 2 chapters, you already see those little seeds of discontent, and all the way through. If it's not Drax wanting to leave, it's Rocket. If it's not Rocket wanting to leave, it's Gamora being upset because you made certain decisions. Maybe you decided to trust Nebula, and Gamora didn't like that. And they affect the characters. And when you have something as powerful as the Eternity Forge, which can bring people back to life, and all the Guardians have a loved one in the past who they would like to bring back. Yes. Who gets it, or should anyone get it? Yep. Yeah, and because nobody that's such a that's a decision that carries a lot of responsibility, and no one person should make. But of course, the 3rd episode, called More Than a Feeling, comes out August 22nd. I cannot wait for it. But I believe that is just about all the time we have. Bill, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for having me. Again, I want to thank all the true believers. We're creating these games for you. I want to do a special shout out to fabulous Flo Steinberg, who we found that we just lost. I was lucky enough to meet her. She was a hero of mine growing up, and then she somehow became a friend of mine. She was always nice, honest, kind. I love her. Flo, we miss you. Everything we do is for you. Thanks to you, this wouldn't have existed. You will live on. I've shed a lot of tears about Flo already today, so I'm not going to say anything more. I think I will just burst out again.
All right, then we'll just go ahead and move on. Thank you guys so much for watching. Once again, I'm Jess Brohard, host of Marvel Gaming.
I'm Bill Rosemann, Executive Creative Director at Marvel Games.
Ryan Penagos.
And this has been Marvel Gaming.